In this video, I will tell you about 3 rules which will help you to better understand the chart. One will be about the yoga, one will be about the dasha, and the other will be about the varga. And why this is important: to not omit anything, to have the complete picture of what's going on in our life. Without that dasha rule, you can wrongly interpret the sub-period, and without this advanced yoga formation rule, you can be totally off when it comes to predictions. On the personal note, we just finished the course 3 modules, so these are 14 days, each day is 6 academical lessons, and we were talking about the house, signs, planets, the Charakaraka, Panchanga, then the Dasha tools, and at the end about the remedies. All this has one goal: to transform you from beginner to intermediate level. Everything is recorded, so if you're interested, just hit me the email below, and you can also find the detailed syllabus in the description. By the way, all of these examples and the lessons are coming from the consultation from this week, so let's dive in it. So the first thing is about the yogas, and here we are talking about the general planetary position and also about something which I called the formation. So this general planetary position can be based on the house placement, like for example we have Navamsha yogas, how the planets are placed in the chart. Like Sharpa yoga, we have at least 3 kendras occupied by malefics. Or we have the conjunction based yogas, which for example we have Moon and Jupiter, which forms the very famous Gaja Keshari yoga. This is the Karaka yoga, which is bringing the blessing, so the substance, into our pipelines, into our chart, into our structure of lordship. And then we have this yoga formation, which is even more important because this is like a template to which each yoga can fit. And then we have the simple and advanced yoga formation. And about the simple, we know there is this conjunction, we also have this drishti, the aspect, and also we have the kartari. But here we are talking about something which is in that category of more advanced. We are talking about the Malika yoga. So what is the Malika yoga? This is when the 2 consecutive houses before or after the house or planets are occupied by 2 malefics. For example, we have Jupiter in the 5th house, and then before that, both in the 3rd and in the 4th, so 2 houses before, in both of the houses we have at least 1 malefic. This can happen also after. So for example, you have Jupiter in 5th, in the 6th and 7th, in both of the houses you have the malefic placed there. And this can totally change whatever you thought is nicely happening in that house. For example, you may have very nice yoga in the 10th or in the 5th, but the malefics which are before or after will have a profound impact, influence, blockage or affliction to that house in question. So if you ignore this, the stakes are very high because this could give you totally different prediction. So if we would see the first chart, we have here this very nice yoga between this Jupiter and Venus. They are even in exchange because Jupiter is in the Venusian sign, Venus is in the Jupiterian sign. So this yoga between 7th of relationship and 5th of emotion and romance and the love of Jala Tattva, the water, is very nice. But before that, we have those malefics, Rahu, Mars and Saturn. And this is very extreme situation because spouse of this person has died. So very extreme case. This happened after a few years after the starting of relationship. And if we omit the Malika yoga, this chart will have no sense. So based on such charts, some people get frustrated with astrology, or mistakes or problems or some deprivations in your predictions can be related to either you don't have knowledge about how to interpret the yogas themselves, but also sometimes what is even more important, you don't have the full knowledge about the formations, about the structure on the chart and how various areas are intertwined. So in this example, we see that Mars and Saturn are before the Jupiter, and this Mars and Saturn, this is the Yama yoga. This is showing death in the chart. Sometimes this can work for you positively, but sometimes it can bring the straightforward prediction of death itself visiting the chart for you or your dear ones. In this case, we see that the impact is on this Jupiter, which has the parivartana with the Venus. So both Lord, 7th Lord of relationship, and Karaka, the planet which is showing the relationship, the Venus, both are involved, and therefore that was the extreme impact. Of course, how extreme this is can be only confirmed by the Navamsha chart. We will skip that for now, but just to know, it's not so simple. There can be a real range of intensity. This could show some ailment, and in some extreme cases, this could even show the demise of the partner. All that is based on the Navamsha. Now we have very similar position here. We have very nice Mercury, Jupiter, Yoga and Sun in directional strength in the 10th house. So very, very nice planetary positions. The Sun and Mercury is called Pandita Yoga. It can make one very clever, intelligent and curious. And that Mercury and Jupiter is a very nice yoga for skills, being very qualified, and also for learning. And the Sun Jupiter is also something to make whatever you do eternal. So very nice yoga in the 10th house. But Lagna Lord and Sun are also here related to the health. And in the previous chart we had malefics before the yoga. Here we have malefics after, and we have Mars and Ketu. And in the body, Mars is related to the nerves or neurological system. This is based on the Ayurveda system or the structure of layers. So we have different layers, and each planet is showing some kind of layer, like Moon is the blood, Saturn are the muscles, and Mercury is the nerves. So with Mars and Ketu, this can show sometimes inflammations, transplantations, need of surgery. And we also know, in fact, I predicted that without knowing this, that the person had here a problem with the eyes, and in fact there was some surgery related to the eyes, because we see that second lord and also the house from the Moon, which is showing the eyes, are very much connected and engaged in that affliction. And because the second lord directly is involved, we can talk about not only sight but the physical eyeballs and things like that. And here the retina was corrected, so that was the surgery about. You can see without these yogas we would totally be wrong about the relationship in the previous chart, and now health about in this chart, right? We know that the health is the pravriti and the nivriti. The pravriti is the resources, and the nivriti are the transformations, negative transformations in the form of the disease. So the Mercury and the Sun is showing the health here, and we see how this is blocked by this Mars and Ketu. So we have here Malika after, and in the previous example we have the nice relationship Jupiter, Venus involving 5th and 7th, and that was true. The person was really in love. The relationship was very good, but unfortunately it was blocked by this Yama Yoga before these nicely relationship related yogas. As a bonus point, we can see that this yoga is also here aspected by Saturn and Rahu, so we can see that there is this affliction or curse of Mercury here. And this Mercury is additionally debilitated in the Navamsha, but this is a storm yoga, right? So this is giving us some additional context of what's going on. And what will be important, we will find out later, then the health problem is really here about this Mars and Venus. So now using the Shubha Yoga principle, we can say that if we will activate whatever this Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn mean, it still can fight for the health. So in that reading I was giving all my advices, everything about the remedies was mainly related to that strengthening of this yoga in the 10th house, because we know that Jupiter can fight 2 or even 3 malefics, and because we have those benefits in Kendra or Trikona, we can definitely ask for help. If we strengthen these things, then through their power we can protect or keep at bay, downgrade all the malefic associations, resources and problems in the chart. Now let's go to the second point. We will learn a little bit about the vargas. And in Vedic astrology we have this privilege to confirm things, and we can do that through layers. We have lordship level, we have Karaka level, Arudha level, and so on. And we can also confirm things through Navamsha and through the divisional charts. If they will repeat, if they will be also existing in those charts, we can be more sure about the predictions we are about to make. And there are many divisional charts. Most important is the Navamsha, and this is created by dividing the sign or house into 9 parts, and there is specific philosophy to now attributing or moving those planets from this main chart to this Navamsha. So that philosophy of calculation is also telling us a lot about the philosophy of the chart, what language now we are dealing with, what this varga is about. So we know the Navamsha is very important. It's about the fortune and about the relationship. And that fortune thing we could also translate to confirming, how we can confirm what is the real level of the problem or blessing in our life through these Navamsha charts. So don't forget to open your Navamsha chart, see in your or your dear ones or your clients how this chart is placed. Are the planets strong? Are they weak? In which yoga they are placed? In which houses? This will have very important role. If you ignore Navamsha, not only the intensity is lost, but sometimes even which area is in the pivot point, what is central, what is the essence. You will omit many, many details, not talking about the whole relationship dynamics, which Navamsha is also telling the story. So we remember that in the previous chart, 8th Lord is related to disease, and we need to find how this planet is placed in the Navamsha. And we see that if we open it, it is joining the moon Maranakarakastana, which is not good. In fact, it's quite bad. And Mars is exalted, that's a nice point, but it is joining this Venus moon and Mars moon. These are the Rudra yogas, which are also known for not being very positive for health. So the main thing is that these planets are joining the Maranakarakastana moon. Maranakarakastana is the worst position of the planets, and for moon it happens to be the 8th house. So additionally, we also have this placement in the 8th house, which is not so good. So we have a confirmation now that this problem is something which we should focus on. It's not something to be ignored. It's not some small itching things that will come here or there. It can present as a real challenge in a person's life. So with this tool, you can check if something is important or not. So there will be situations when you will have two identical Rashi chart. They will be just the same. Maybe sometimes moon will be in different house or the TT will be different, but their life can go in different directions. Some aspects of life will go better, some will go worse, and this difference will be reflected if you will investigate this special Navamsha chart. The third point is about the Dasha, and we know that we have the Mahadasha, which is the period, Antaradasha sub-period, and sub-sub-period, which is called Pratyantar Dasha. And many people are taking these in isolations. Then when they are in conflict, of course the question is coming, which one is predominating, what is going on. So I'm not supporting the system of taking them separately. We need to take them into pairs, and we need to see how is the sub-period placed from the main period. And one of the tools which are under this umbrella of comparing these two sub-period and the main period is called the Anubhava or the Bahya. And this is if we count from the Mahadasha to the Antara and the same distance from the Antara. So now the problem was presented to me because when I've rectified this Navamsha, everything was super fitting, but the demise of the spouse happened in the Saturn moon. And this is very unlikely that the moon here in the 7th house will give demise. Normally this has happened in the 6th house Dasha. And from Saturn to moon, we have 5 houses. And if we count 5 from the moon, we will land here in the Aries. So now the Lord Mars, because it's lording also the 6th house, it has the full qualification to cause demise. Of course, that can be supported by other dasha, so you can confirm that with other dasha, but nevertheless, without this principle of Anubhava or Bahya, without this important principle, we will totally wrongly state that the moon dasha should in fact be very good for relationship. So by taking the distance of a Saturn and the moon, we are getting totally different prediction. So this is also something which has very high stake. If we don't take this into account, we will omit so many things which are happening in our life. By implementing these 3 rules in our chart reading for us, our dear ones, or consultations, our predictions will not only be more rich, but much more accurate. We'll be more sure about what's going on. We'll be seeing what will get activated in the dasha, and now we also have the confirmation tool using the Navamsha. Okay guys, so that's all for today. I hope you find this video interesting and informative. If you have found any value in this video, please do me a favor. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit the thumbs up and also subscribe with the bell notification on, because we'll be talking about the new yogas, dashas, vargas, and all those systems to make you better at interpreting your chart or your dear ones. If you'd like to have one-on-one consultation to understand your chart better, your dashas, the vargas, Navamsha, and so on, then please hit me up with this email here. And if you are still hungry for more Jyotish, then please consider watching this one.